Hello student, welcome to our channel. This is Anand Kumar Singh. Today we are going to discuss the types of matrices. Before going to know types of matrices, at first we should know what is the notation of a matrix. The notation for a matrix is usually capital letters. At first we have learned what is the definition of a matrix in our previous class. Now the notation of matrix means if we want to write down a matrix 1, 2, 3, 4, then we should use the capital letters to denote the matrix. We should use the capital letters, say A, B, C, capital A, capital B, capital C, to denote a matrix. And these capital letters are known as the notation for a matrix. Okay. Now we are going to discuss what are the different types of matrices. At first, rectangular matrix. If I write down here 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 5, then it is a matrix having two rows, 1 and 2, having two rows and 1, 2, 3, three columns. So the matrix 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 5, which I have written here, has two rows and three columns. That is, it is a matrix of 2 by 3 order. If the number of rows and number of columns, of a matrix be not equal, then the matrix is known as rectangular matrix. So what is a rectangular matrix? A matrix of which number of rows and number of columns are not equal, that is called rectangular matrix. Rectangular matrices are of generally two types. Number one, row matrix, and number two, column matrix. Row matrix means a rectangular matrix which only has a single row. A rectangular matrix which only has a single row but different number of columns is called row matrix. And what is a column matrix? A rectangular matrix which has only a single column but different number of rows is called a column matrix. For row matrix, we can take 1, 2, 3. Here we can see that the number of rows is 1 but number of columns are 1, 2, 3. So it is a matrix of 1 by 3 order. Okay. For column matrix, we can take 1, 2, 3. Here we can see number of columns is 1 but number of rows 1, 2, 3. So for row matrix, we should keep in our mind that the number of rows must be 1. And for column matrix, the number of columns must be 1. For row matrix, number of rows is 1. For column matrix, number of column is 1. Now let's go for square matrix. What is a square matrix? If the number of rows and number of columns for a rectangular matrix equal, if we consider a matrix having m rows and n orders, then the matrix is said to be m by n order matrix. If the number of rows, that is m, and number of columns, so that is n, be equal, then that type of matrix is said to be square matrix. Square matrices are of different types, and among them there are few matrices which we are going to discuss now. That is diagonal matrix, scalar matrix, unit or identity matrix, upper lower triangular matrix, and more. Okay. Now, before going to know what is a diagonal matrix, at first we should know what is the diagonal of a matrix. If I write here 1, 2, 3, 4, then if we join 1 and 4 with a line, then we will have a line which is joining 1 and 4. This line is called a diagonal. And if we join 2 and 3, with another line, then we will have another diagonal. The first diagonal is known as main diagonal or principal diagonal, and the second one is known as secondary diagonal. Now diagonal matrix is a kind of matrix. Now a diagonal matrix is a kind of square matrix. Obviously square matrix, as diagonal matrix is a kind of square matrix for which not all the diagonal elements are 0, but others are 0. That is, if I take here 1, 2, 3, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Here we can see that the diagonal elements are not all 0, but other elements are 0. So it is an example of a diagonal matrix. If I take another example, 1, 0, 2, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So here we also can see that all the diagonal elements, not all the diagonal elements are 0. No matter it is 0, but not all the elements are 0, but others elements are 0 is called a diagonal matrix. A diagonal matrix is a kind of square matrix for which not all the diagonal elements are 0, but others are 0. What is a scalar matrix? A scalar matrix is a special type of diagonal matrix. A scalar matrix is a special type of diagonal matrix for which all the principal diagonal elements are same. That is, if we take a matrix like 2, 2, 2, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, then it is definitely a diagonal matrix. And for this diagonal matrix, we can also see here that all the principal diagonal elements are same. All the principal diagonal elements are same, and it is called a scalar matrix. A scalar matrix is a special type of diagonal matrix for which all the principal diagonal elements are same. Okay, now let's go for unit or identity matrix. Unit or identity matrix is also a special type of diagonal matrix. Is also a special type of diagonal matrix, or you also can say special type of scalar matrix for which all the principal diagonal elements are 1 or unit 1 1 1 0 0 0 0 0 0. It is a square matrix, and for this matrix we can see here that the principal diagonal elements all are 1 or unit. A unit matrix and unit matrix or identity matrix is a special type of diagonal matrix, or some can say special type of scalar matrix for which all the principal diagonal elements are 1 and others are 0. Okay. Identity matrix or unit matrix is generally denoted by capital letter I. This is a identity matrix or unit matrix of order 3 by 3 because of there are 3 rows 1, 2, 3 and 3 columns 1, 2, 3. So this is an identity matrix or unit matrix of order 3 by 3. So we can write this matrix as I, and denoting the order we will just take 3. So this matrix is called I3 matrix. If an identity matrix having 2 rows and 2 columns, then that matrix is said to be I2 matrix. If an identity matrix or unit matrix having 4 rows and 4 columns, then that matrix is said to be I4 matrix. Okay. Now upper triangular and lower triangular matrix. Upper triangular matrix or lower triangular matrix are types of square matrices. A square matrix of which, let us take an example for this case, 1 2 3 0 0 0 0 1 2 3 4, and another one 1 2 3 0 0 0 3 2 5. For this case, we can see here that there all the elements just below the principal diagonal. For this case, we can see here that all the elements just below the principal diagonal are 0. If all the elements below the principal diagonal be 0, then that kind of matrix is called upper triangular matrix, because we can see from here that on the upper hand side there is a triangle of non-zero elements. Okay. Upper triangular matrix is a special kind of square matrix where all the elements just below the principal diagonal are 0. Okay. On the other hand side, for lower triangular matrix, we can take this example. Here we can see all the elements just above the principal diagonal. All the elements just above the principal diagonal are 0. So this type of matrix is called lower triangular matrix. Upper triangular matrix means all the elements below the principal diagonal are 0, and lower triangular matrix means all the elements above the principal diagonal are 0. Okay. Lower triangular matrix is sometimes denoted by capital letter M, and upper triangular is denoted by capital U. Now, in our further class, we are going to discuss more types of matrices, and hope this lecture will be helpful to you all students. If you like this video, please support us.